You have been lied to about money. Not by a scammer, not by a stranger, but by every hustle culture voice screaming at you to work harder, sleep less, and grind through a second job just to make the numbers add up. Here's the problem with that advice. If trading hours for cash was the real secret to wealth, the hardest working people on the planet would already be rich. Factory workers pulling double shifts, delivery drivers out past midnight in the cold, retail employees stacking 3 jobs just to keep the lights on. By the hustle culture logic, they should be the wealthiest people alive, sitting on top of the income pyramid instead of scraping the bottom of it. They are not. Often, they are the most trapped of all, working the hardest and falling the furthest behind. Here's the truth. Nobody wants to say out loud, poverty is rarely a problem of income. It's a leak, a slow, invisible leak in how you were taught to see, respect, and direct your own energy. Take on a second job, and you're not curing the disease. You're bandaging a wound that's still bleeding underneath. You're burning your rarest asset, time, to feed a system built to take your money back the second you earn it. And the cycle repeats. More hours, more stress, more exhaustion, and then more spending, just to survive the lifestyle the hustle created in the first place. So forget the side hustle, forget the trading app. Today we're going somewhere else entirely. Japan, a country that has survived collapse, hyperinflation, and total resource scarcity, and still built some of the most quietly powerful principles of personal finance on earth. In the West, money is treated like cold math, spreadsheets, interest rates, formulas. In Japan, it's treated like a discipline, closer to mindfulness than mathematics. The lesson is simple. You don't build wealth by pouring more water into a leaking bucket. You build wealth by mastering the bucket itself. These are 5 rules that will plug the leaks for good, without 1 more hour sacrificed to a job that's draining you. Rule number 1. The Kakeibo, the ledger of living breath. Modern banking was built to make money invisible. You tap a card, scan a code, click one button in bed at midnight, and the currency disappears before you ever really see it leave your hands. Because you never physically feel the loss, your brain stops registering the cost. So your income leaks out through 100 microscopic holes. A forgotten subscription, a bored trip to the convenience store, a 2 a.m. impulse order chasing a small hit of dopamine. Then the month ends, and you stare at your account in genuine shock, wondering where it all went. In 1904, a Japanese journalist named Hani Motoko, the country's first female reporter, diagnosed this exact problem more than a century before smartphones ever existed. Her solution was the Kakeibo, literally, the household financial ledger. Not an app, not a spreadsheet with automated categories. A physical notebook you sit down with, pen in hand, at the end of every single day, and answer 4 questions before each month begins. How much money do you have? How much do you want to save? How much are you actually spending? And how can you improve? By writing every purchase by hand, letter by letter, you reintroduce friction into spending, forcing yourself to actually look at your choices instead of letting them slide past unnoticed in a blur of tap to pay. The Kakeibo sorts your life into 4 categories. Survival for rent and groceries, leisure for entertainment, culture for books and art, and extra for the unexpected. Do this daily, even for just a few minutes a night, and the invisible bleeding becomes visible in a way no app notification ever manages to make you feel. You stop wasting money not because a rigid budget forced you to, but because you finally saw, in your own handwriting, exactly where it was going. Rule 2, the 30-day horizon, borrowed directly from the quiet philosophy of wabi-sabi. Modern advertising runs on one core weapon, manufactured discontent. It needs you to feel that your phone, your wardrobe, your furniture, your entire life is somehow incomplete. Buy this, and you'll finally be enough. But the moment you buy it, the thrill fades, the object becomes ordinary, and your mind is already hunting the next purchase. That's the hedonic treadmill, and it never actually arrives anywhere. Wabi-sabi is the direct opposite, the appreciation of imperfection, age, and impermanence. A worn wooden table, a cracked bowl mended in gold, a jacket that's been worn in, not worn out. Wabi-sabi breaks the link your brain has built between new and happy. Apply it to money through one simple rule: the 30-day horizon. Every time you feel a burning urge to buy something non-essential, stop. Write the item, the price, and today's date on a slip of paper and put it in a drawer. You are not allowed to buy it for 30 days. During that month, the dopamine fog clears and your rational mind takes the wheel back. A striking number of people report that by day 30, the urge is simply gone. Not suppressed, gone. That's not deprivation. That's your money quietly staying exactly where it belongs. Rule 3. Maximizing the lifespan of everything you own, rooted in the old Japanese concept of mottainai. The West runs on disposal. A chair wobbles, so it's landfill bound by the weekend. A jacket loses a button, and instead of 5 minutes with a needle, it's replaced entirely. That habit isn't convenience. It's a slow financial hemorrhage, forcing you to rebuy things you already paid for once. Mottainai is the opposite instinct, a genuine ache, almost a small grief, at seeing value wasted or thrown away before its time. It's not cheapness, it's respect, deep respect, for the material, the labor, and the natural resources behind every single object you own. Its clearest expression is kintsugi, the centuries-old art of repairing broken pottery with a lacquer dusted in real gold. The crack isn't hidden or sanded away. It's honored, highlighted, made part of the object's visible story, and the piece becomes more valuable, not less, for having been broken and carefully mended back together. Bring that mindset into your finances and you start maintaining instead of replacing. Shoes that last a decade because you actually care for the leather. A car that never needs a catastrophic repair because you didn't ignore the small ones. Clothing that gets mended instead of dumped. Wealth isn't built on an endless stream of cheap, replaceable things. It's built on a small number of things maintained so well they barely need replacing at all. Rule 4. The categorized flow of honor, inspired by the ceremonial tradition of Shugi Bukuro. In most Western households, income lands in one chaotic pool. Bills, groceries, entertainment, all pulled from the same card, the same account. Because it's all mixed together, your brain can never quite calculate what's actually safe to spend, which breeds constant low-grade anxiety and quiet overspending. In Japan, money given for weddings, funerals, or other major life events is never handed over loose and crumpled. It's placed inside a shugi bukuro, an elegant envelope tied with intricate ceremonial knots, a physical signal that this particular money carries weight, respect, and intention, and should never be treated the same as pocket change. Bring that same intentionality home. The moment income arrives, split it immediately before you spend a single dollar into separate categories: survival, savings, growth, and guilt-free leisure. Use physical envelopes or separate digital sub-accounts. It doesn't matter which. What matters is the wall between them. Money never crosses from one envelope into another. Leisure runs out on the 15th. Leisure is finished for the month, full stop. You don't borrow from savings to cover it. This single rule kills the constant mental math of, can I afford this? Because the envelope already holds the answer. Rule 5. Aligning your money with your ikigai. Here's the deepest reason people stay stuck. Not a lack of income, but a lack of purpose. When your days feel empty, spending becomes a substitute for meaning. You buy things you don't need with money you don't have to impress people whose opinion shouldn't matter. A car to signal success, clothes to hide insecurity, distractions to numb a job you can't stand. That's the real poverty trap. Consumption filling a hole that was never about money to begin with. Ikigai is Japan's answer. The intersection of what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can actually be paid for. It's your reason for getting out of bed, the quiet engine underneath everything else on this list. Find it, and something strange happens. The pull towards status symbols and empty upgrades starts to fade on its own, because your days are already full. You stop needing the new car to feel like somebody, because you already feel like somebody at your desk, in your workshop, on your daily walk, wherever your ikigai actually lives. A person anchored in real purpose is naturally harder to manipulate with advertising because the ad is selling a feeling they already have, and no amount of clever marketing can sell someone something they no longer need. When your money serves your ikigai, it stops being an escape hatch and becomes a tool of freedom. You're no longer saving out of fear, you're building out of intention. Every dollar becomes a brick in a wall around your own autonomy. The power to leave a job that's crushing you, the time to learn something new, the security to bet on yourself. Escaping the poverty trap was never about an 80-hour week at a second job. It's about awareness, intention, and mastery over what you already have. 5 small ancient rules. Not a hustle, not a side gig, not a second job that eats the last free hours you have left. Just a different relationship with money, one built on respect instead of fear, on awareness instead of exhaustion. You don't need a better spreadsheet. You don't need a riskier investment. You need to see clearly, spend intentionally, maintain what you already have, honor the flow of your resources, and anchor all of it to a purpose bigger than the next purchase. Adopt them, one at a time if you have to, and money slowly stops being a master you serve out of fear and becomes a quiet servant that funds your peace, your purpose, and your freedom instead. Take a breath. Step off the treadmill you didn't choose to get on. If this quiet reset is exactly what you needed today, subscribe and walk the rest of this path with us.